up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the RiOT Comedy Podcast presented by RiOT. Shout out to RiOT, keeping us healthy, hydrated, and happy. We got a lot to talk about. Got Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, Cavaliers news, Warriors trades rumors. Let's get into it.
Let's start
off with Jalen Brunson. $113 million pay cut.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I like it. I like it not in the sense of like you get more talent on your team or anything like that. I like it because now you have the Knicks by the balls. Like you can go to them and be like, I want this player, and they can't tell you they can't afford it. They can't tell you not to make moves now. They can't, because even if the Knicks come out and say, well, Brunson wanted this deal, but it's not good for the team, the fans aren't going to listen to it. They're going to say, well, he's the guy. He took less money, so you guys could do this. This is why he took less money. So do it. Yeah. So I like it in the sense of having the team by the balls. I don't like it in the sense of like New York would never do anything that nice for you. The Knicks organization.
Absolutely not. They would never reciprocate that kind of love to you. Absolutely not. I honestly, I don't have an opinion on it. I'm going to wait 5 years. If he wins the championship, it's worth it. If he don't, he blew it.
Yeah, and one thing that I think that we need to look at, too, is like everybody's like, well, he took this much less of a pay cut. And in reality, it's enough money to where, like, it's an unfathomable amount of money he was just given regardless.
Yeah.
Like, the normal person cannot fathom.
I mean, he's still got a $156 million contract.
And just signed a $100 million contract before that. So you got an 8-year time span where he's going to make like $250 million. So like it's not like this dude was like, I'm gonna play for no money. It was essentially just like, I'm just gonna take a little less. And the numbers are kind of skewed because there's a 5th year on the next one, so that's like a big chunk of the money. All those things.
Yeah.
However, though, I can honestly say that I might not have done the same. But if he creates a trend, though, like they say Mikal Bridges might take less money now. So if he starts creating a trend where all these guys who like playing together on the Knicks take less money and you can keep adding depth, you got to think that they can get over the hump eventually because your team will have more talent than everybody else's. Like the Celtics are going to have to be dismantled after next year. They're not going to pay that luxury tax. They're not like if they after next year.
They got big bills over there.
After next year, their salary cap with the luxury tax is projected to be over $500 million for 1 year. That's why they're selling them, is because they're like they're never going to be worth more money.
Don't want to deal with that.
We don't want to deal with this. It was a great investment. Let's just wipe our hands of it and move on. And the new owners, new owners can be the bad guys. We're the ones that did all this. Now the new owners can be the bad guys. So, but as far as the Brunson thing goes, I like it in the sense of like now you get to control the narrative and the team. Now you get to control everything because you're the good guy. In the foreground, you're the good guy. In the background, now you can tell the Knicks what to do. So I really, really like it in that regard.
Did he? Was he able to sneak in a no trade clause into that? Because if he didn't get a no trade clause, he blew it.
I don't think that he's played there long. I think you have to play for a team for 7 years, 6 years before you can get one. It's something. And I don't know if Jalen Brunson's made it. Like you also have to be able to like make a certain number of All-Star. There's so many things that go into it. And I'm pretty sure that only LeBron and Bradley Beal have no trade clauses. Still.
Probably. I don't know what the requirements are. I just feel like if you're going to take a $113 million pay cut, you should be able to get a no-trade clause, no-brainer. Otherwise, I ain't doing it. I wouldn't even consider it.
Me neither. So it's just one of those things
without a no-trade clause, I'm not taking a pay cut of more than $2 million a year. And that's when I'm already making like 50. I'll go from 50 to 48. You give me a no-trade clause, then I'll work with you. But if you ain't working with me, not happening, dog.
Agreed. But he did buy himself some years. Like the Knicks can't trade Brunson now for years. He did finagle that. Tomorrow. Yeah, I mean they could. That's the thing is, but like,
look at this All-Star I got on a discount. Who wants him? What you got for me?
Yeah, but the thing about it is like
he's way more valuable to your team actually making that little money. But
and they'll burn the fucking garden down to the ground. I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah,
because you're not. But here's the thing though, is that like Brunson also damn near made himself impossible to trade because for what his contract is worth, you'll never get anything in return mildly worth that. Like it's easy to unload a superstar who makes $50-60 million a year and justify it. You can't justify arguably the best point guard. He is the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. There's no arguing that. There's no arguing that he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. You're never going to – and what's he make now? It's like 40, just shy of 40 mil or something like that is what he signed for. You'll never be able to get
it's like he's still getting a max contract from 5 years ago. You know,
Correct.
He's super paid.
and still got a pay raise.
Super paid.
And he still got a pay raise. And it does insure money. Like, it insures money now. Like, I think a lot of people about these players are really quick to be like, wait till the offseason, get your bag. And it's like, if you have a chance to get a bag right now, you don't want to be LaMelo Ball and not sign that Adidas contract or not sign this deal or not sign this deal.
Absolutely.
And everybody always says, I remember we had this argument a long time ago whenever all this was going on. And I remember you telling me like, yeah, but if he builds this big baller brand into something, he's going to be worth way more money. And I'm like, yeah, but what if you fucking tear both your ACLs or your knees get blown out? Well, he cost himself like $10 million. Like, if you have a chance to be rich forever, and people can say, well, $10 million doesn't make you rich forever. Yes, it does. If you know what you're doing with money, it does too make you rich forever.
Yeah.
Between his rookie deal.
It's a great head start. You should be set for life. It's not like you can just sit on that forever. Like, yeah, you got to invest it and do things. But yeah, $10 million, you're set for life because I don't know. That's not necessarily true. You got to, like you said, you got to know what you're doing because every lottery winner seems to blow it. And be right back to square one.
So if he would have signed that, which it worked out for LaMelo Ball because he ended up getting a pretty decent deal with the Bulls. He's made his money. Everything's good to go. But like between his rookie deal and that Adidas deal, he probably would have made $18 to $20 million in between those two contracts. Like, you should take that.
He has
his little brother,
Puma, doesn't he?
What do you say? That's his little brother.
LaMelo Ball has a shoe with Puma. No, you're thinking of Lonzo.
That's what I meant. Lonzo Ball, when he came to the league, he was the number 2 pick. Yeah, Lonzo. I'm sure.
LaMelo got Lonzo.
So Lonzo cost himself that money.
Shout out to Melo real quick because Melo got one of the best looking shoes in the NBA.
And LaMelo did not go that route. He said, "Yeah, fuck this. I'm taking my Puma money."
And then he's head time hurt.
Right. And now he's just on his rooftop cruising in golf carts on the roof, fucking balling out, being rich as fuck. So like, I'm just saying, man, when you have a chance to take life-altering money, there's more to it than like I could have more. There's more to it sometimes than I could have more money. If somebody wanted to come through right now and like buy our platform for $100 million, right? Or let's say $50 million. Somebody wants to buy our platform for $50 million, and you come at me and you tell me like, well, we could turn this into $200 million. Buy me out. Buy me out then.
I ain't mad.
Give me my fucking $15, $16 million, and I'll see y'all later. And if you guys get richer than that, I'm happy for you. Y'all know where to find me, and that's on vacation. So that's kind of how I feel about that situation.
Eastern Conference point guards. Darius Garland wants to stay with Cavs. What do you think of the move?
So, you have to say that anyways. You have to say you don't want to be traded anyways. True. It's just good business. However, though, there's two sides to this that you have to look at. Number one is like, if you're Garland, what's most important? Is it most important is like making as much money as possible and like showing out your talent? Then you can't play there.
Yeah.
But
see, that's the thing is,
go ahead.
You got to figure out what exactly what you're saying. That what path you want to go. Do you want to shine or do you want to win?
And last thing you want to do is go to the Bulls or somewhere like that. Like, you think that this sucks right now? Like, because all Garland's known since he got in the NBA is I play for the Cavs. We're not very good right now, but we're getting better. We have young talent. There's always been something to look forward to. But if you get traded to a fucking bummy franchise, the only thing to look forward to is the offseason. That's it.
You know what the Cavs really need to do? And also, like, I love the Garland and Mitchell pairing. I mean, you got a backcourt that's giving you 44 points, 12 assists, and 3 steals a night. This is what the Cavs really need to do. They need to get Max Strus's ass out of the lineup or off the team because you got a small forward who's only 6'5", not a good athlete by any measure by NBA standards, and he only shoots like 35% from 3. So you have a dude who's playing the most athletic position in the NBA who's not an athlete and he's not a standout 3-point shooter. You got to replace that guy with somebody who is a 6'7", 6'8" athlete who can run the floor, dunk on fools, do that. Like, that piece would make the Cavs a contender in the East. So
the only way to do that is you got to get rid of that log jam for the bigs. Like, I like their bigs. Like, I like Mobley now, and I think that that's a sweet pairing. But like, eventually you got to draw a line in the sand somewhere and just know that this isn't working. It's not like we're not even in the experimental phase anymore. We're in the how do we get better phase now. Like, that's the phase that they're in. And they took good strides last year. They made it to the second round of the playoffs. They'll get better. Team chemistry, all those things. But like, it's not going to solve your wing position. And that's been the weakness for them for years. It's not going to solve that. Like, you're never going to solve that by keep running this lineup out there. And I think that Jared Allen has a lot of trade value. I think Evan Mobley has a lot of trade value. And these contracts are going to come due. So you might as well ship one of these guys out for 2-3 good players that actually make your team better. Because I think Mobley can if you're going to trade one of them, I would trade Jared Allen just because I think Evan Mobley has all defensive caliber talent, which obviously everybody else knows that too. This isn't a secret. But I don't think Jared Allen has that, and I don't think he's quite as athletic. He's huge, and he rebounds, and he plays good basketball, and I like Jared Allen, but he also has no dog in him, it seems like, either. So I think that's
very nice guy, like very nice, humble person, and that's great for life. Amazing person he appears to be. I don't know the guy, but that's not what I'm looking for on my sports team.
No. Like, if you're them, like, do you swing for the fences and go get Brandon Ingram? Like, do you say it? Because based on what we're seeing right now, the Pelicans would trade Brandon Ingram for Jared Allen straight up, for sure. Yeah. If the contracts match up, which they're probably pretty close. You could probably throw in like a Max Struss there to grease the wheels, get rid of him, and bring in a Brandon Ingram, who is 6'8", 6'9", not a freak athlete, but like a walking bucket. And that might make more sense to do. You can go get a center to clog up the paint anywhere. You can find big bodies to clog up the paint anywhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But Jared Allen's he is pretty good. It's just like you say and you can find big bodies, but it's tough to find the guy who kind of knows the game of basketball sometimes, you know.
Yeah, Jared Allen's definitely good, and I think that like replacing him sucks.
I pull the trigger on it because Brandon Ingram can get buckets, and that's they need someone else who can get buckets right now.
Absolutely, and they need a wing. You got to have some kind of wing help out there.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. I mean, right now you're so far in the back seat from Philly and New York and Boston that you might as well try something. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, then trade Donovan Mitchell for the house. And then you can still have Garland and Mobley and then fill the roster up with what you get from Donovan Mitchell and just build something with those guys. Because you have a lot of options here. But I think staying in the position that they're in right now and staying with this current roster that they have is going to be a big mistake. Like you guys might
go ahead.
Like you guys might be behind Orlando at this point. So
absolutely. In today's NBA, if you're running a 6'5" white dude as your small forward, the most stacked position in the league, you ain't going nowhere.
No,
because you got a matchup nightmare every night. And you play in the East, you're going against Jason Tatum, and now Paul George is over here too. Like, come on.
That's a problem. And Mikal Bridges.
Trade for Brandon Ingram. Do something.
Right.
Get someone who can kind of compete with these dudes.
For sure.
Let's jump to the West. Lauri Markkanen, Warriors, possibility? You think it happens? Pull the trigger?
So I saw the trade that this is just rumors, but I mean usually they're pretty accurate. The trade that the Jazz wanted from the Warriors that the Warriors turned down, and of course the guy they had involved in it that they turned down was Jonathan Kuminga. So I have like so many question marks about what the Warriors are doing, right? So Jonathan Kuminga's his trade value is higher than how good he actually is, it seems. And Jonathan Kuminga had great stretches last year. He had great stretches. I think that the dude can hoop. But what are we doing here, right? So you've made so many miscalculations now that it questions. You guys have to be questioned as far as front office goes because what the fuck are you doing?
Absolutely.
So you have Jonathan Kuminga, who other teams have wanted for years, right? And you said no about the Clippers wanting him. You tried to flex your nuts on the Clippers and be like, well, you guys are going to get nothing for Paul George, so we're going to offer you dog shit. And the Clippers called their fucking bluff and said, fuck you. No, we'll take nothing then. We'll just take nothing for him. And then now you're standing here with your dick in your hand, and now somebody else wants Jonathan Kuminga. If you had this much faith in Jonathan Kuminga, then why didn't you trade Klay Thompson a year and a half ago when he had trade value and get something for him? Why didn't you include Jonathan Kuminga into Chris Paul?
Because Bob Myers ain't there no more. Because ain't no Bob Myers there. Jerry West has been gone for a long time from that team. Rest in peace.
Because Chris Paul had an expiring $30 million a year contract. You could have paired up Kuminga and Chris Paul and got something dope at the trade deadline last year. Or before the season even started, just flipped Chris Paul into something immediately. So you lost Chris Paul for nothing. You lost a $30 million expiring contract for nothing. You lost Klay Thompson for nothing. You refused to get rid of Jonathan Kuminga. Your best big player, your best big man is fucking Draymond Green. And now your second best scorer is a completely and totally unproven Jonathan Kuminga with this much on his shoulders. And you guys are expecting people to not drag you through the mud, or you guys are expecting your fans to be excited for this. They have nothing to be excited for. You guys fucking suck. Plain and simple.
The front office is playing scared. That's how scared people play any game that they play in. They're scared. And they're scared to pull the trigger on certain things, and they think they have more value in certain things that they do, and they don't know how to assess those things, and they're going nowhere. So, but I would love to see Lauri Markkanen there. I think it'd be awesome to have a 7-footer paired with Draymond down low, but who can also step out and shoots almost 40% from three. The only problem is this dude's going to miss 20 to 30 games every year. But the last time he was healthy, which was like healthy for him, he played 66 games 2 years ago. Not this past season, but the season before. Averaged 25 and 8, shot like 39% from three, I think.
Yeah.
But he missed, almost 20 games.
Yeah.
So aside from, if you could count on him to be healthy, but it's kind of risky. However, I would love to see it happen. I think that would be a great.
I mean,
it'd make it interesting.
At what point, if you're the Warriors, though, are you going to stay in this middle of the road of a partial rebuild, partial like we're still good with Steph Curry, because you guys are doing nothing but disservice to everybody involved. Your draft picks suck. Your draft picks are going to suck. You're not going to be able to add any depth around Steph because him and Draymond make fucking, $70, $80 million a piece, not a piece, but combined. So you're putting yourself in a very bad situation. And the fact that you guys didn't get Paul George because you tried to flex your nuts on the Clippers the way that you did is hilarious. I'm glad the Clippers just said, fuck you then. We'll lose them for nothing, because quit letting people get their way from talking shit to you across the phone, being like, well, you just want nothing then? Yeah, I do. Fuck you.
yeah, fuck you. I'd rather have nothing from this guy than junk from you and help you out with, because you got something a tiny bit better for me.
Right. Yeah, fuck off, dude. We're so close to, like, if you're the Clippers, you're so close to fucking needing to do a rebuild anyways that, like, might as well see how the first part of this season goes and tear it down if we have to at the trade deadline.
If I'm the Clippers, I'm tearing it down already. I already traded Paul George. What do I got left? A hobbling Kawhi and an old man James Harden?
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook? I don't know them dudes no more. They're all legends and Hall of Famers, but we're going into year 2025. All these dudes are old. It's time to blow it up. Trade them for whatever you can get and bounce onto the next.
Correct.
Speaking of trades, OKC, start trading some picks. It's time to start making moves with them.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, it's been time.
This next season, unload all those picks. You should be in a position, you have so much in the treasure chest. You should win the West next year. You should trade all those picks for whatever you can get, win the West, make it happen.
It's one of those things where, I saw like this thing where somebody was talking about how they should go get Lauri Markkanen, right? And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, with them having Hartenstein, like, what are you going to go do?
Yeah, I don't like Markkanen there either.
You going to put your $30 million a year center on the fucking bench? No, you're not. You're not doing that. It doesn't make any sense to do that.
He's also a better athlete than Lauri Markkanen.
And I don't need Lauri Markkanen to fucking score points. I have fucking Chet Holmgren for that. Like, and they have a ton of defense.
Absolutely.
So the only question is like, I think that they should start unloading some of this treasure chest for shit. But what's out there that makes you? Are you just looking for bench help? Are you just looking for another starter whenever your starting lineup is pretty filled up with a perfect starting five? Like, they have a perfect starting five as far as positions go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They do.
They have a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. So it's like, what do you do with these picks? Like, do you go get like Vucevic from the Bulls for a bench big? Like, I don't know what you're even supposed to do at this point. Like, so what's a move out there that you see that they make? Because that wouldn't even cost you any of your treasure chests. And it's just one of those things, like, maybe their treasure chest is full and their roster's full and they just have the best of both worlds. I don't know what they're supposed to do.
This is what I would do, because there's always something out there. If you start making phone calls, someone will listen to you. But I think what they really need, I don't know if there's a specific person that comes to mind for me, but if I'm OKC, I'm trying to get some veteran locker room leadership. If I can find a veteran who's won hopefully like 2 championships, that can be in my locker room and show these dudes, we're here, but we got to do these little things to get to the next level. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need like that veteran leader who's been there.
Well, then you should have splashed on KCP.
So that's what I'd go after.
Then you should have splashed on KCP, or you should have.
That would have been great. That would have been a great addition. Or Clay, if you could have pulled it off.
Clay's not going there. Clay's starting.
That's what I was gonna say, but Clay wouldn't have came off the bench though.
Hell no. That's why it's already been reported. Like, 'cause I saw this thing not long ago where this person was like, yeah, I mean, Dallas's lineup looks pretty scary. Klay Thompson being a sixth man. I'm like, that motherfucker did not go to Dallas to sit on no fucking pine.
Hell nah. Hell
He got guaranteed
And
minutes
I ain't
and
mad at him.
guaranteed
I
starting
wouldn't
role.
do it either.
Mm-mm.
Because Clay still, what did he get? He got 19 points a game last year.
And shot 38% from three. Fuck you, I'm playing.
I ain't going to the bench. You crazy. I'm Klay Thompson.
Agreed.
There's not one active player in the NBA who has more championship rings than me. Nobody in the NBA has more. Tied with a few you guys, but nobody got more than me. I ain't coming off the bench. You're crazy.
You know who would probably be like an interesting player for OKC? And I'm not saying that like this team would go for it, but like Chris Middleton, like you have some salary cap, you can eat up his contract. He's won a championship. He's real smooth. He's real cool. He can come off the bench. He's shown he can hit big shots. He's going to be a pure scorer off the bench. And the Bucks might be willing to move on from that contract. Like, and they could ship out Brook Lopez and maybe actually make some moves for a change. They might not do it. They're pretty cash strapped, beat on the second apron with both Giannis and Dame. But that would be the type of player that would make a ton of sense. But you need to find somebody willing to come off the bench. Like, I thought DeMar DeRozan coming off the bench there would have made sense, but he wants to start, I'm sure.
That'd been fire.
I get 22 points a game, dog. Like, I'm fucking dope. I'm starting. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint some of these guys unless – and that's the thing is you don't have to get rid of your treasure trove for any of these guys. Like, if you're going to unleash your treasure trove, like, you're going to have to include Hartenstein in that, which you can't trade him until the January deadline, which might be like January 6th, something like that, right around there, until that deadline. So I think that OKC's kind of just strapped, but I would love to see them get in their treasure chest and add a couple bench players that are good. But their bench is even good. Like the Williams guys are pretty solid. Like their bench is already solid. You just need like one guy. Like the guy that we thought whenever they traded for Gordon Hayward last year, like we thought like, okay, that's pretty solid. Didn't even see the floor. And he's like, I'm frustrated with my role, but you're not good enough to play anymore. So a move like that, but one that actually makes sense. But there's not a lot of guys out there with championships that move teams, so it's going to be a tough find. But at the trade deadline, that's when you need to go jump on it. Don't do anything too quick. But at the trade deadline, once you assess your team for the first half of the season, then you'll know exactly what you need, and you have the assets and everything you need to pull it off.
Yeah, I just think that they need some older guys who've been around for a while because they got the youngest team in the league to like win however many games they won last year or whatever. But like young teams don't really win championships in the NBA. Like the only team ever was the Warriors in 2015. That's the only time you've ever seen it happen. But they also had Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, a couple other dudes that were deeper in the rotation.
Andrew Bogut.
Andrew Bogut, dudes who had been around the league for a decade. Or
and
more.
They had some injuries come into play that helped them win.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, OKC, they just need like a little veteran savvy type of and energy in there, and then they'd be super scary.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely agree. Is there anything else on the docket for today? Is there any other news?
There ain't nothing going on in the NBA right now. We're gonna have to make up stories like the rest of the networks do.
Hell yeah! What do you think of that 6-point win by America?
Oh,
it's an
man.
exhibition.
It is an exhibition, but kind of like we talked last time. I don't care if it's an exhibition. You need to be mopping the floor with all these fools. Like every team that comes into the play, you guys should be scared from tip off.
Correct.
We'll see. You look beatable turning the ball over 18 times a game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, I'm ready to watch them lose one though and get their like. I'd like to see us lose one of these exhibition games and fucking.
I don't think we're gonna lose. We're gonna win gold. We're gonna go undefeated the whole way through. But we're going to have some close games against teams that we should have won by 20, 30 points.
That's why I want to see us lose one of these exhibition games. Like, just lose one. Like, that doesn't count towards anything. It doesn't hurt our fucking chances. And just lose an exhibition game in fucking, where are they at right now?
I think they were in Abu Dhabi or Dubai for the game.
I think Dubai.
One or the other. They were
somewhere
in the UAE.
Just lose one of those games. And, sometimes you got to lose to get better. Like, lose one of these games that doesn't fucking matter. Because last thing I want to see happen is we have like 3 close games in the fucking qualifying rounds, and then it's like, fuck, what do you do now?
I don't know, man. This new generation of like NBA players where we're at right now, I wouldn't even be surprised if if they lose a game, instead of like getting mad and being like, they'd be like, oh man, we can actually lose.
Right. Yeah.
That's something you gotta worry about. That's a legit concern. Concern.
Yeah, no fucking
These
shit.
These dudes could get down on themselves. Christ. Like they ain't dogs. Like this ain't the 90s. This ain't even the early 2000s. This ain't that. Like player mentalities are different. These dudes are all like they're friends with each other. They're kind of soft compared to like the old school cats. Not kind of soft. They're soft compared to the old school cats. So it's you gotta worry about those kind of things. I would be
Yeah,
trying
man.
to just go out there, let everyone know we mean business. I'd be trying to whoop everyone by 30, 40 points and
I'd
coming
love to
out
see
killing.
I'd love to see the early 2000s like line up with like team like you take like the best like 10 players from the early 2000s and the best 10 players right now in the league and like just watch the fucking early 2000s mop the floor with these motherfuckers. They might
Absolutely
not.
destroy them.
They might not.
Okay, think about this. Your starting lineup is going to be like Shaq and Kobe and Tim Duncan and Tracy McGrady and Jason Kidd. They're going to mop the fucking floor with whoever the 5 best players are in the NBA right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mop
and then
the
their
fucking
bench
floor
players
with
are
them.
like
Mop,
their bench players are
embarrass
going to be
them.
like fucking Dirk and KG and Rasheed Wallace and fucking
Yeah.
Steve Nash.
And our starting 5 right now is going to be like Joker, Giannis, 100-year-old LeBron is still going to be there, 50-year-old Steph Curry, and then who else? Like who's the next dude in that mix that we're going to throw in there? Luka getting killed,
Yeah.
absolutely destroyed. Get swept if they played a 7-game series. Would be embarrassed. Would be a disgusting thing to watch.
However, though, that early
for these new guys.
2000s, the early 2000s all-time team would probably beat the shit out of every decade team.
I would agree with that 100%. Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Tracy McGrady, and then Jason. And
LeBron.
like you said, your bench. Yeah, LeBron even.
LeBron,
I mean,
D Wade, Melo, like all from like when LeBron get drafted?
well, now we're getting into a different era. Now we're getting into a different era because Shaq is past his prime once LeBron gets into the league.
I'm talking about
Like
2000 to 2010, that decade.
Oh, okay, well, if you're pulling the whole decade, I'm just talking about pulling a year team because if we're talking about pulling a whole decade from right now, we can go all the way back to 2014 LeBron, and then the game is a whole different story.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about pulling out a year or two. I'm thinking like 2003, 2002 time.
Yeah.
Prime Shaq, prime Tim Duncan, prime Kevin Garnett,
Prime Kobe.
entering his prime,
Right.
murderer, prime Tracy McGrady, prime Jason Kidd. They'll probably beat any team from any year damn near ever, dog.
That's no shit. That'd be a discussion for another day, but yeah, that team would be nasty as fuck.
This year's team would get embarrassed.
Especially since like their bench players. That's the thing is like the early 2000s.
Their bench is prime Kevin Garnett and prime Paul Pierce and like Dirk.
And fucking Rasheed Wallace, like very slept on fucking player. But like if you guys think that like you guys are gonna ball on Rasheed Wallace, like his defense is top notch and he's the original stretch 4. Like Rasheed Wallace, like I saw this post the other day. I think it was from Andre Iguodala. I don't remember who said it, but they said that Rasheed Wallace would be one of the best players in the NBA today. And I'm like, that actually sounds fucking possible. That's actually probably true.
That, man.
That's actually probably true.
I ain't mad at that.
It's probably true.
He would be one of the best players, like
for sure.
And sometimes Giannis goes between the 3 and the 4. If Giannis is the 3, Rasheed is probably easily the best power forward in the league today.
Trying to think, unless like maybe you want to call AD a 4 since that's his like position he likes to play. But even
that's
still,
fair, but that's
like
yeah, and even still, like
you splitting hairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very slept on player, dog. Everybody just knows Rasheed Wallace for getting technicals, but like he's a bad motherfucker, and show that motherfucker his respect.
I was just getting ready to say, like, you talk about dudes who have some dog in them, like that Pistons team when he got traded there. Rasheed Wallace was so good that he got traded in the middle of the season, and it's not very often you see a team make a trade for a new best player on the team in the middle of the season and they win a championship. It never happens.
He did it immediately. He
probably only played 30, 40 games that year for that team, and they won the championship, and he was the best player on the team. I know Chunk won the finals MVP because he was the leader and orchestrates things, but the best all-around player was Rasheed Wallace.
That's what we'll do next podcast since there's no fucking news going on, is we'll go over like generations. We'll go from like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. We'll talk about best players, best teams ever, and we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. We know our fucking history real well. So we'll get down into the nitty-gritty. We'll maybe make all-time teams.
That'll be a great podcast.
That's what we should do, is have a fucking draft.
I was thinking about that too. A draft would be cool, but we need like 2 more guys. We can't just go back and forth and have a 2-team draft.
Nah. Well, we can make Dilly get on the podcast.
We could also each have 2 or 3 teams and be like, all right, for this team, I'm picking this guy, yada, yada, yada.
Well, we're all together in person this week. So maybe we could do like a podcast with us 3 on it. and have everybody be in the
Yeah,
same
we'll make it
fucking room
happen.
for a change.
We'll get a dope. We'll get a dope historical team analytical podcast for you guys. It'll be dope.
I'm gonna be super analytical. That's my biggest pet peeve. This will be the last thing I say is like, we got to start taking analytics out of sports. We got to quit taking them motherfuckers so serious, dog. Like the eye test.
I don't mean analytical. I don't mean analytical running numbers. I mean like what we're doing right now is sitting here analyzing Rasheed Wallace and these other
Right.
teams and comparing each other.
Okay,
I
I
don't
was
mean
about
I
to
don't
say.
care about the numbers and shit. I'm talking eye test. Everything is eye test for real.
Because we should have a whole goddamn podcast on the fucking eye test, because I'm so over hearing things about like efficiencies here. Oh, plus like the only numbers that actually matter as far as statistics go, in my personal opinion, well, besides like shooting percentage and shit like that actually matters, and like points per game.
Yeah.
But like your plus minus matters some. But like
plus minus matters.
a couple years ago, statistics wise, Joker was the best defender in the NBA. Whenever we all know that shit ain't fucking true. So we get into a whole podcast on that
People
shit,
be
but
carried away with the numbers, the analytical numbers. But yeah, well, it's so maybe analytical is the wrong word, but more comparative type of thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll break it down and get into the nitty gritty. It'll be good.
Fucking for sure.
But yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all watching. What do you say?
Tune into RiOT Comedy. New cartoons dropping all the time. Drink your RiOT water. Stay hydrated.
All right. I'll holla.